Everyone, and welcome to the J and K Show. I'm your man, J Rob. Got my brother right there, K. What's good, my brother?
Yo. What's good, my man?
I am good. I'm good listening to a lot of these stories going on this week.
Yeah, it's bubbling out here, man. A lot happening.
A lot has been happening, and one of the stories that we've been following on this podcast for a while, obviously, is the whole Diddy story and the Diddy case, which is crazy. Every day a new story is coming out. And there is a new story coming out about this. She's a singer and she's a songwriter.
Okay.
Her name is Tanea Wallace, and she's been doing the rounds on TV lately, talking about how she has been at some of these freak-off parties that Diddy allegedly has had, right? And she's made some startling claims out there. We don't know if this is true or whether it's not or right, but she's been making startling claims that she has been at these freak-off parties and that she has seen young people at these parties. And she has also said that she has seen celebrities, famous people, surrounding these people that were young, indulging in sex acts. Now, she hasn't named any of these celebrities, but she is saying that this is true, and it's just another startling claim of someone who's saying that they were actually there, which is, it's really sad, right? If this is all true, right? It's just really sad. So what do you think about this whole ongoing situation going on with Diddy and about these new claims coming up from Tanea Wallace? Do you think she's credible? Do you think this is true? Or do you think this is just another case of someone just trying to get some kind of fame from it? By the way, I also want to add that Ray J is also talking again. Remember we spoke about Ray J getting into a fight with Diddy's kids?
Sons, right.
He's also saying as well, surrounding this, that there are actually celebrities that are actually finding out who these alleged victims are, and that are actually finding out who they are so they can pay them off to shut them up, basically keeping their names out of their mouths. So this is and this is what Ray J is saying. So, and I think that might have been part of the reason why he was getting into these fights, because he's been doing a lot of talking, and Ray J is even saying right now he probably has said too much. But he's like, you know what? F it. I said it. It's out there. This is what's going on. And he knows this because celebrities have been reaching out to him. So what do you think about this whole situation that's still ongoing with Diddy?
Well, I'm a little bit surprised that we're not seeing more of it, quite honestly. So when's the trial start? May of 25?
Yep.
So I think there's going to be this slow drip until it happens, and a lot of this comes out. So I'm not surprised by that at all. I'm not sure of what the motives are for folks doing this. They come out, they leave a little bit of breadcrumbs. So I'm not sure what the end game for that is, right? Like, if you're going to come out and talk about it, then talk about it. Or if you're not going to talk about it, then don't say anything.
Right.
So you just don't understand what the motivation is, what the motivation is for it.
Yeah.
One of the stories that you hear is how people had to sign these NDAs.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know. I think in a criminal investigation, I don't think that even applies. Right. This is crazy. And then so from Ray J's standpoint, and Ray J's coming at it, you do feel like Ray J knows a lot more than what he's saying.
Right. Because he has that he's in the inner circle, and he's Diddy's friend.
Right. And so I'm wondering, I think Ray J is going to talk himself into being subpoenaed when this trial comes. And then he's not going to be able to lie unless he takes the fifth, which is, he won't say anything, but he would only need to take the fifth is if he was doing something, right, and doesn't want to incriminate himself.
Right.
Which I think people would really kind of question if he can't talk about it even under oath. There's a lot here, man. But I listen, I also go back to what I said before. If this is true, and I don't know what it is, and I love how you say alleged, but if it's true, he should go to jail. He being Diddy.
Right.
To me, this is, this makes sense. If it's true, he should go to jail. They should put his ass under the jail. If it's not, then go free. But there's so much stuff there that you tend to believe that he's guilty of something. We don't know what it is for certain.
Right.
But yeah, man, this is crazy, and will continue to be crazy up until and through the trial.
What do you think that this Tanea Wallace would gain, like, out of, let's say she is lying? Like, what would anybody out there gain from lying about something like this? Like, what do you think is there for them?
Right. Well, we've talked about this. It's an event that she is lying. She is embellishing.
Yeah.
What she could gain from it, and you and I talked about this, sometimes you need to only know just enough, right? And sometimes the just enough, people don't want you to talk about it.
Right.
And so it can be a payday for you. Here's some money to just keep quiet. Right. Because when you file suit, and if you don't pay out, at some point there's going to be a deposition.
Right.
And you and I know people don't want to be recorded talking about being asked questions by the opposing attorneys, asking all of these questions on tape, on camera. Like, no one wants to be deposed going through that.
Yeah.
So in this case, sometimes it's worth it to just cut the check, make it go away. You know what I mean? And so maybe that could be it. Listen, I don't know, but but to answer your question, that could be one of the motives.
And if in terms of the celebrities that may have or may have not been there, do you think that, let's say if they were there, do you think that it's smart for them to reach out? If what Ray J is saying is true, do you think it's smart for them to be reaching out to these alleged victims? And let's just say they was just there, but they had nothing to do with it. Or maybe if they did see something, do you think it's smart for them to reach out to these alleged victims and to pay them off just to keep their names out of these alleged victims' mouth if they had really nothing to do with this alleged crime if it happened? Like, do you think that would just be drawing more attention to them? Or, like, what do you think about that?
Do I think it's
smart for them to be paying off these alleged victims just to keep their names out of their
mouth? Hell yeah, it's smart for them. Listen, I don't know the statutes, but who's to say they're not a part of the crime? So if someone is, and we're just theorizing here, if someone's violating a child, that's a crime. If you're witnessing that and you're at this party, at this event, this gathering, and you're witnessing this,
right?
Could a DA make some sort of leap and connect you to this happening and now bang you with some sort of conspiracy charge? It's possible. I think.
Even if you were just there and you may have or may have not
but
witnessed it. If you're saying if you was just there.
Well, no. Well, your question originally was if you witnessed it, if you were witnessing it, then is it smart to pay that? Yeah, I'm not saying they should or shouldn't. I'm saying, but to answer your question, is it smart? Hell yeah, you want that. So one, it could possibly be a crime, right? Because you're a part of this event, this thing that's taking place, and you're partaking in that, right? Hold on.
Okay.
Even as a witness, right? You could theoretically, and again, I'm talking about something I don't know fully. That's the legal ramifications, right? But then there's the public perception. Why the hell did insert name here not say anything? No. Why were they watching that? Yeah. Why didn't they take up for this child? Why didn't they intervene? There are a lot of whys. People have been canceled for a hell of a lot less.
Okay.
And so with that in mind, if you believe that if you cut the check, you could make that go away or somehow protect your secrets. Yeah. So to go back to your original question, Is that smart? Yeah, that's smart on their part to do that. Absolutely sure. It doesn't assure you of anything. It's probably some fake comfort because
they can keep coming back
they
and
can
back.
Keep coming back.
Oh, I need some more.
Absolutely,
Right.
but you know what? And you need to keep on paying that too. If that's what it is, if that's it, yeah, then that's what you need to do then.
And I just don't know how, even if a celebrity was there and they did witness it, let's just say that was true, I don't know how an alleged victim or the attorney would be able to prove that I witnessed something. I could have been at that party myself right there, and I could have been downstairs, and the freak-offs could have been going on upstairs. I might have been at the party, but I witnessed nothing. I may have been there. So I guess I'm just curious, like how these attorneys would be able to even, like, why would I want to pay off these alleged victims? Let's just say, why would I be fearful of it when I was downstairs and the freak-offs may have been going upstairs? I don't see how an attorney or these alleged victims would be able to prove that I witnessed it.
I think
even if I did.
Jay, I think it's a topic that is so salacious that no one wants to be associated with it under any circumstances. The silence.
Yeah.
So this brother's having parties, standing room only, right? People from all over the world coming through to these parties. All of a sudden, it's like there was nobody there. Yeah. No one wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
You can't. People don't want to confirm invitee lists.
Right.
Nothing. There's a lot. It makes a lot of sense to me. Mm-hmm. If you are a big name celebrity, think about how much you have to lose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Mm-hmm. The imaginations of people would run wild just by you being there, even if you did not do anything. You're in another part of the house, just having a drink, listening to some music. But that's not public opinion. Public opinion is you're going to be there.
Right.
You were there at the party.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's just not worth it. You're talking about and I think more is going to come out. I think people are going to lose careers. Yeah. I think that whole cancel culture that seems to kind of be on a low simmer, that heat's going to get turned up again.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of that stuff kind of come out. I think it's one thing, man, for people to you hear comment here or there on the internet.
Right.
It's another thing when people are sworn.
Yeah, true.
And looked at to tell the truth under oath or risk going in jail themselves.
Right.
We'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I hear what you're saying. No one wants to be even affiliated in any way whatsoever. And if they were indeed at these parties, and I guess they do have the money to pay these people off, the attorneys or whatever, to keep their name. Again, they can't guarantee that they're not gonna keep paying. Right. You're right, which is horrible. But I guess if they have all that money, it's worth them to save their career and save their image.
Yeah, because if it comes out, ain't no money coming in anyway.
Exactly.
Everything's gonna shut all of that down.
You're done.
Sponsors are gone. People turning their back on you.
Right.
You see what's happening to Diddy. So friends and family will turn their back on you. Like there's a lot there. Some of the celebrity names that we've heard.
Yeah.
I don't need to repeat them. I think we've all heard them.
Exactly.
It would dominate the headlines. Print, online, radio, television. Some of the names that we've heard associated with some of these crude acts. Lewd acts. Unreal, man.
And there's so many celebrities that have just been at the party, which is well known, and they've admitted themselves that they've been at these parties. And I guess that's fine, because we all know just because you might have went to his parties that you didn't necessarily need to partake in these freak-offs or even have seen it. So that part is fine. But I think even the people that have just went to the parties, they're probably scared shitless too.
Of course.
Which is kind of...
Of course.
Right. I just hope that the people that were just even at the parties, I just hope that things don't come down on them just for some of these celebrities who just simply attended. I just hope that doesn't happen because I think that part is wrong.
So forgive me, and maybe you brought this up in a previous previous episode. Yeah. Have you talked about the time that you attended the party?
I don't recall.
Oh, did I say recall. Something that I shouldn't have said?
I don't recall.
Did I put my foot in it?
Everyone, Kay's lying. I've never been to a Diddy party.
Listen.
I've never been to a Diddy party.
Sure?
Not now. If I was invited, I would have went.
I feel like if
a party, of course, obviously.
I feel like if we go online, start hitting the old post button, old post, we're going to see Jay dipped out in some white linen.
I don't know. He's wearing the white, y'all. So K may have went to one of them Diddy white parties. I don't know.
I think that's why your ass is so shook. Like, you think? Did you think?
I've never been there. Never been there.
Yo, that's why your ass is shook.
Kay's wearing white, y'all. Kay's wearing white.
Jay is so concerned. He's asking my black ass for legal advice. I don't know shit.
Oh, you're not an attorney?
No, I'm not no fucking attorney.
Okay. It's crazy. But listen, I wish all the best for these alleged victims. If it's true, our prayers are with you, and we hope justice is served. Yeah. All right. Another story going on, Kay, this week is that Whoopi Goldberg. She's been on The View for I don't know how many years now, but she's been on for quite a while. She is the matriarch of The View. She holds it down. She runs the show. She just came out this week saying that she is still only with The View for the paycheck. And a lot of people online was like, wow. So she's basically saying that she would quit The View if it wasn't for the paycheck. Now, with all of these times going on in the political world, obviously we know where Whoopi stands on this. So I think right now she's kind of just fed up with it and kind of wants to get out of the talk show game. But she's saying that she's just the working class, like you and I, right? And people online are laughing their ass off because they don't view her as the working class because she makes $8 million a year doing The View. So people online are saying, how you gonna be the working class if you make $8 million a year, right? So it's crazy maybe to some of us, maybe some others not. But do you think that Whoopi, and I love Whoopi, by the way, that's my girl. I love her mind. She's just brilliant, right? So do you think when you hear a statement like that, do you see why a lot of people online are maybe going at her, questioning her whether she's a part of the working class or not, or even believing that she would quit or she's only still working at The View for the paycheck?
Man, listen, there is I think at times people really show how tone deaf they are. Like, come on, Whoop. Like, is life so good / so bad for you that you don't know that you're winning in the game of life, financially speaking? $8 million a year. Now, I will say this though. It is relative to what your lifestyle is. You'd be making $8 million a year and be living like you make $11 million a year. So you feel the struggle, you feel the pinch. However, there ain't no support group for people that make $8 million a year. Hello, my name is Whoopi. Hi, Whoopi. And I only make $8 million. Like, stop, dog. Like, it doesn't make it makes no sense. And so if you choose to want to leave behind that comment, bye. Bye. Because clearly you don't have any good sense. For you to say something like that, listen, we know you ain't got no eyebrows. Now, clearly you ain't got no good sense either. Like, what the hell, man? Like, it makes no, like, that's ridiculous, bro. Like, there are working people out there struggling who have real issues, trying to make ends meet through no fault of their own. I'm not talking about the ones who are shiftless and lazy sitting on their ass. I'm talking about the ones that have through no fault of their own. And you get someone over here who's complaining about their first world problems. It's disgusting. And it's such a slap in the face. In particular, someone who wasn't born into money, Her background and her story is well documented. She was on welfare, you know, and all that other stuff. She started out with her one-woman show, yada, yada, and all that stuff. God bless her. She did it. No one's knocking her for that. But I think it's kind of like, come on, Whoop. Like, really? Of all the things you want to bring up, that's the reason why? Keep that shit to yourself. Nobody want to hear that. How many people sitting in that audience, how many people tuning in can feel that pain based off that dollar amount? It just feels like you're flaunting it. It, to me, is in stark contrast to a lot of what you say you're against, especially when the angry orange guy was on there and all for the rich folks and not for the working people and everything. And they were waving that blue flag and so forth and so on. And then now you're out here talking along the same lines by which you criticize others for doing. Again, totally tone deaf. Totally tone deaf.
Well, I don't understand how you can't understand when someone says, listen, you and I have had a lot of jobs where we're just on the job for the paycheck, right? And for anyone making that kind of statement, you know, it can't be true for you and I and not true for Whoopi, regardless of how much an individual makes. If they make a statement, they're on the job simply for the paycheck, it is what it is. Like, if someone makes that statement, just believe it. Like, I don't understand why everyone on social media can't believe that she's doing the job just for the paycheck.
Well, that's not what I responded to. I responded for her trying to put herself in the space of the working man. Like, she's not this working class.
That's my next point. No, that's my next point. What do you? My next point is, and you alluded to this, which was the only smart thing you said. It's all basically, you alluded how it's you know, relevant to the person. She can make $8 million a year, but like you said, she could be living like she's making 11. It's all relevant. If someone is saying that they're working just for the paycheck and they make $8 million a year, but they have $11 million worth of expenses, then that person has to continue to work for the paycheck to even just keep that on the level. Okay. So I don't know why people are just thinking, oh, $8 million is a lot of money. Yeah, it's a lot of money to a lot of us. Sure, I get it. I understand. But like you said, it's relevant. So I don't know why people are coming down or not believing it or foo-fooing on her. Whatever.
You do too, Jay. You do know why.
No, I don't.
You do know why. You know why, because it's $8 million. Okay. It's $8 million a year, and then so you can't buddy up with people and say, hey, I'm one of you, to the bus driver, right? To the do we still have milkmen out there? To the bus driver, to the sanitation worker. I think that's done. I think I aged myself. But you know, to folks like that, you can adjust your lifestyle and be able to do. You're gonna have to come up with a word that ain't even invented yet to convince me that her $8 million a year.
We don't know her expenses.
To me,
it doesn't matter.
No, I tell you, we don't know her expenses, right? But I think the point is I'm not saying that that's not real, right? Mm-hmm. What you make, what you spend, that's a real thing. All of us are dealing with that.
Regardless of how much we make.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
I think where people are snickering at is you try to put yourself in this community over here, right? Like, you know, like, hell, ain't it rough for us? And you're looking at the mail carrier and the nurse and the, you know, these people, they're like, us.
right.
We. Like, we. What, were you speaking French now, Whoopi? What do you mean we?
Okay.
We ain't making $8 million a year. Mm-hmm. Go adjust your expenses, right?
Okay.
And then or come down to where I am and then understand what that feels like. And I don't think I think there's this lack of sympathy, right?
Wow, you look at it that way, like a lack of sympathy on Whoopi's part?
No, I think there's a lack of sympathy.
Oh, you mean on the people?
Yeah, on people, because they're just like, wow, what?
They're not sympathizing in terms of what her struggle may be like.
Right, because you look at it, it's you've got someone. The average salary in this country is about 45 million. Excuse me, 45,000.
Yeah, 45 million.
No, 45.
I'm way under.
I made an error.
Okay.
But $45,000 a year, right? Okay. And so that's across the board for this country. Okay. Until you get someone making $8 million. God bless her. That's about 1 million more than your ass makes. So maybe that's why you're aligning with her. So I don't get it.
Well, I do understand what you're saying in terms of, but it's almost akin to what you allude to. First off, if the average salary is $45,000 and they're making $45,000, but they have $60,000 worth of bills, it's basically the same thing she's saying. It just depends on how much bills you have in terms of how much money you make a year. So I feel like they should be able to understand somewhat, but I guess their problem is they're thinking, well, see, they never made that kind of money, right? So if they're making $45,000, they're probably a little more tight with their money because they have $60,000 worth of bills and they're only making $45,000. But she could be doing the very same thing. She's just making a hell of a lot more money. Now, I don't think Whoopi is that kind of person, but I don't know.
What kind of person?
I don't think she's that kind of person that if she's making $8 million a year, that she has like $11 million.
Why would you say she's not?
No, I said no. I said I don't think.
Why do you think that? She's literally talking. She's talking like she's exactly like the person that you just said you don't think she is. Right.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I just don't feel it. I don't feel it.
Dog, she literally is talking like the exact kind of person that you say you don't feel like. She's that way.
I know, but what I actually think that she's actually talking when she says I feel like she's talking for the average American. I think so.
I think you're right, and I think that's why she got the blowback. Mm-hmm. That's why so we are in agreement. That's why the blowback is there, because she does think like that. She is feeling, and it goes back to what I said. If she does indeed feel that way and is speaking on those terms, then she's tone deaf. She's not reading the room. She's not reading America.
It's not that she's tone deaf.
She absolutely is tone deaf.
She's in support of the average American. So she's aligning herself with the average American. You don't have to be exactly like the average American to align yourself with the average American and to think just like they think and to be that kind of person. You shouldn't be criminalized just because you make X amount of money. And
criminalizing.
I know. I mean, I just feel like
she interjected herself. Listen, you want to talk about this alignment? There is a difference between sympathy and empathy, right? And so she can be sympathetic to those who have different circumstances, but I think what she tried to do is look for empathy, and the empathetic component is putting yourself in those shoes. Like, we're all in this. It's the same exact thing. We're all there together. I know what you're feeling because I'm in that circumstances the same way.
And you don't have to be in those circumstances to know that feeling. You don't have to be.
Okay, so you're not going to redefine words. That's why I said she may be sympathetic, but she came across like she's empathetic. And there is a difference. Nuance matters. And I think that's the part where people are like, come on, Whoop. Like, stop. You may sympathize with me, but you don't empathize with me. That's not your circumstance. And so stop talking about it in terms of working people and working class. You're not the working class. There is no on earth besides you and Whoopi who see nothing wrong, if you will, by her designating herself as a part of the working class community doing $8 million a year, which to me, that's a very incredibly popular show. Well, I'd say get 18 million if she can. I'm not hating on that. I'm just saying, like, come on. Are you serious? Like, come on. Well,
I would just say if she made that statement, clearly she has X amount of bills, since she's been making a very good salary for a number. I'm just saying. Clearly, if she has a different lifestyle now. She's been making $8 million a year for how long?
Saying, though, Jay.
I'm just saying she has a certain amount of bills because of her salary that she needs to keep working to keep those bills up. I mean, you understand that.
Yeah.
So that's all she's saying. That's all she's saying.
Okay. All right. So that's all she's saying.
All right. Well, listen. All the best for you, Whoopi. Do your thing. I know you're part of the working class, and you know what we're all going through. Oh, Lord. All right? Whoopi, you my girl. You my girl.
Whoopi ain't been poor over a quarter of a century, so stop it, man.
Hey, listen,
working class. Working class? Okay. All right,
it's all relative. It's all relative.
All right, well.
All right. The next, we have a big fight coming up tomorrow.
Oh, I like a good fight.
A good boxing match. But is it a real boxing match? That's the question. We got the great Mike Tyson going up against Jake Paul tomorrow, November 15th. Netflix. It's going to be big. They had a press conference today. Jake Paul accused Mike Tyson of being boring because he's not talking the yin-yang that he usually talks. But one thing I liked about this that I've seen about Mike Tyson, he's been very serious. He was on TMZ this week, and he seems like he's all business. Mike Tyson is 58 years old. I think Jake Paul's like 26, 27, something like that. So he's got him by a good amount of years, right? But he seems like this is business. Now, I got to admit, I really didn't think that this was real going into this. They shortened the rounds, right? So I think the rounds are only 2 minutes, which I believe is going to favor Mike. Because Mike might be 58, but as we all know, ain't none of us still want to get punched by 58-year-old Mike Tyson because we know that would be lights out, right? So while Jake is saying that he's being boring and he's not really because he wants to promote more of the fight, Mike is seeming like he's all about business and he's basically saying he's going to rip his head off, right? So do you think, my question to you is, do you think that this fight is going to be real? I'm happy that it's really happening, but do you think that Mike is really going into this fight in order to rip his head off and win this fight? Or do you think that this is strictly about entertainment? And what do you think the outcome is going to be?
Man, I have to move my way of thinking to what the possible outcome will be, because I'm so trapped inside of the idea that I hate the idea of the fight to begin with. I don't like it. I don't like and I like Jake Paul. I like what he's doing. I've never been a hater about him or his brother. I think that he does take boxing serious. And folks, kind of got on him saying, oh, he hasn't fought anyone. This is earlier in his career. Well, and I would often counter that argument. Well, what the hell is he supposed to do? He's just starting out. But I do believe he takes it serious. I just don't like I don't like the idea of Mike doing it. And it just doesn't feel right to me. I don't want to. I'm rooting for him.
Explain. Well, explain why you don't like him doing it.
Well, because it's because you know what, Jay? I don't want to see Mike lose. Now, there's a possibility he may lose. I don't want to see that. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, right? When my boy Sugar Ray Leonard got beat, I cried.
Right. What is the old saying? You should never pity your heroes. I don't want to see Jordan in 45. Right? I don't want to see Joe Montana not being able to throw the ball. I don't want to see Mike. Mike can hit. Mike can hit. All of these boxers, when they retire, they can still punch.
Yeah, right.
They can't get out of the way of anything. That's the difference. You can't duck or get out of the way. If you learn how to punch and know how to punch, you can always punch, right? And that's the old fighter's got a puncher's chance kind of thing. But it's the idea, I don't want to see Mike get beat. And for the Jake Paul of the world, the De La Hoya Cesar Chavez fight, it was one of the things that De La Hoya always regretted. Because he fought Cesar, he whooped Cesar Chavez's ass, but because Cesar was such an iconic figure, he looked back and said, I wish I had never did that fight. Oh. Yeah. He wished he never did.
Right.
Let that man keep that glory. he too didn't want to see that happen to his idol. Think about when Larry Holmes, although the fight happened, and Ali, right? Yeah, fight. Tyson beat him up because of that. But he never felt good about that. He spoke openly about that. Now, I don't know. Why
take the fight? Don't do it then.
I don't know if Jake is a purist and he would have that same kind of feeling.
He's not a real boxer.
Right, but it just doesn't. No, I disagree. I think he's committed to it. Like Jake's throwing punches and he's getting punched too. So I don't want to disrespect him by saying he's not a real fighter.
I guess I'm just saying that wasn't his real profession.
I think it is now. Listen, I don't know where it started or how, whatever. But when you're getting in the ring,
you're a real fighter now.
You're fighting, right? I don't give a shit what happened, right? Mike. Absolutely. So he can go in there and absolutely get hurt. So I don't want to disrespect the young man that way. Me personally, it really is all about Mike. But I'm praying for the dude.
So is another reason that you don't want it to happen is because, well, I guess you said it. So are you saying that you think that he's going to lose? Or it's a good probability that he will because of his age?
I think so if I were to, sometimes I do wagers. So I'm not waging on this fight.
Okay.
But I would be conflicted. And so when I'm conflicted, I never put money. I never put money on an event because my heart would go with Mike, but my head would go with Jake in this fight. And so when I'm conflicted, when I'm conflicted, I stay away from it. And reason being is because when Mike was at his best, and now granted, you mentioned about the rounds being less,
which is an advantage,
right? It is an advantage, right? But when Mike was at his peak, if you could get away from Mike in the earlier rounds, onslaught. You could kind of stretch that thing out a little bit, right? That was Mike at 20. What's Mike at damn near 60, right? And so I don't know if Jake Paul decides to grab him and hold him, and it could stretch out. He could outpoint him. That's what makes me now. Do I see Jake knocking Mike out and doing all other stuff? I don't know. I don't know if I would go that far. But could Mike get tired? As a damn near 60-year-old person would? Yep. Could Mike not get out of the way of some of those punches like a damn near 60-year-old person can't? Possibly.
I don't know how many rounds there are. I know they shortened the rounds. Do you know how many rounds there are? I'm not sure how many rounds there are. But I do know they shortened them, whatever the rounds are. So I'm hoping that... Listen, I got to keep it honest, too. I was never a Mike Tyson fan. I'm not a fan of cocky athletes, cocky people in general. So I was never a Mike Tyson fan, but it's something about when athletes get older, I kind of respect them more. And then I feel for some reason I start rooting for them. The same thing I did with Kobe. And I feel like with this fight, I feel like I'm rooting for Mike, which is a first for me because I've never rooted for Mike. I've always rooted against Mike.
Well, like I said, we should not be pitting our heroes. That's where you're rooting for him, but there's probably a little bit of pity there. You feel it just feels different.
And why should we pity someone with Mike who has this money, who's had all this success and fame? Like, why would we? I think pity is the wrong word.
No, that's the term. It's pitying your hero.
No, you know what it is for me? Oh. You know that for me, I've always, and I don't know, and I think...
The underdog?
Yes, you know that about me. Right. I always root for the underdog. So as soon as you shift from that cocky favorite to the underdog, I go right with the underdog, unless I really can't stand you. Like, I'm not a LeBron James fan. I probably would never root for LeBron James, ever in history. So I think that's where I am with Mike. I respect him. I've met Mike. He's cool, but I think right now, it's going to be the first time I might be rooting for him because I believe he's the underdog, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he may be. I just want this fight to happen and get over with, be done, and it just I feel I got knots in my stomach over it.
I see this going the full amount of rounds. I don't think Mike is going to get hurt.
Yeah, I do kind of see it going the distance as well, too.
Right.
Like, and so here's the thing. I think it either, I think it goes the distance or Mike drops Jake. I don't necessarily.
Really?
Right. I could see Jake beating up Mike.
On points?
Right. Just
I could see that.
Mike, because again, I don't think Mike can get out of the way at that age.
I agree with you.
I can see Mike, like Jake, beating him up for however many rounds and then winning on decision. But I think if there is a knockout to be had, like someone gets dropped, I could see Mike dropping Jake.
You don't see Jake dropping Mike.
I don't necessarily.
Because Mike has been dropped.
No, he absolutely has. I'm not convinced of that yet. I think
you don't know if Jake has the power.
I think maybe over a length of time, maybe wearing him down.
Not a one punch knockout. You don't think Jake has that one punch knockout power like Mike does?
Like Mike? No.
Yeah, well, nobody.
No,
right? Yeah,
like Mike. No,
right.
And that's not to disparage Jake.
No.
Right, Jake to me, and again, I don't know why people come down on him. I just think he had a certain brand, and it was difficult for people to wrap their hands and arms around the fact that he's in. But I think the young man trains for real. He's fighting for real. That young man will throw hands. He will knock the shit out of 99% of the people walking this earth. Right. Yeah. So I get that. I respect him for that. But he's also fighting someone in Mike Tyson. Who went through a lifetime from the time he was 13 of taking a punch.
Right.
There's you develop some scar tissue, no pun intended, to be able to know how to take a punch. You just do. It is different. I don't know if anyone. I have strapped on gloves numerous times. It ain't fun, dog. Yeah. You need to build up some tolerance for that, right? Yeah. Like I remember the first time I got punched, like for real in the face. Let me tell you something. I was like, get these motherfucking gloves on. Right. Coach, take these shits up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
It's something to behold, man. So, yeah.
I hear you. Yeah, I just want it to be a good fight. And again, now the roles have been reversed. Jake is now the cocky one. Mike is the underdog. And that's where I don't like when people do that yin-yang talk.
I feel like he's trying to sell tickets still,
man. He's got to be.
Like, he hasn't even been like that for his other fights. He's trying to sell some tickets.
But I believe he believes it.
I don't. Listen, he could believe something. I mean, he better. You better have that sense of believing it when you step in that ring. Because listen, for all we talk about what Mike isn't, he will still knock your head off. You better go in there, and I hope that's the Mike that goes. And so the other thing about Mike, I'll say, we don't always know what Mike's going to show up. Mike could just, you think he's going to go in there, raging animal, and the Mike of...
I think that Mike is gone.
Mike of 86. Yeah. But then get in there and start to being a little bit affable and just like, hey, it was just, then the post-fight, it's like, hey, I'm 50 years old, and I'm just, I just wanted it to go in there, and no, I don't want to see that either. Then I'm gonna get pissed off at Mike. Then you get pissed off, right? I'm gonna totally shift over to like, then why'd you do that?
Don't go in the ring unless you're old Tyson,
right? Like, or the best version of yourself, and trying to win, and trying to win the fight.
Yeah, I don't know. He seems like at this time, I don't know. I mean, it just seems.
I hope so.
Yeah. I listen. At the end of the day, we just want it to be a good fight. I want it to be competitive. I don't want to see a knockout right away on either side. Well, actually, if Mike knocks him out, I actually would be happy in the first round. And that's very strange for me to say because I've never said that in my life. But I just want everyone to be safe. He is 58. I want him to be safe. Obviously, Jake's a young man, so I know he's going to be fine. He might get bumped and bruised a little bit, but he'll be good at the end of the day. So we'll see. That fight is Friday, November 15th, and it'll be a lot of entertainment on Netflix. Make sure that we all check that out. It'll be fun.
Yep.
Last story of the day that I want to touch upon is Michael Strahan has been in the news, right? Veterans Day was just this past week, and they had Sunday football, and they were honoring the veterans on Sunday football. And he made the news because all of his sportscaster colleagues, they were standing up before the game. They was doing the national anthem. And everyone had their hands on their heart while they was going through the national anthem. And Michael Strahan was just sitting there with his hands crossed and folded while all of his other colleagues had their hands on their heart. And then he faced the big backlash of media basically saying how, and I love Michael Strahan, great guy. Uh, they was kind of just saying that he wasn't being a patriot, like unpatriotic. And it was crazy because people don't understand that. Because first of all, like I said, his father is a veteran, right? So he has the utmost respect for veterans, obviously, because his father was one. But people are saying, no, this is crazy. It was completely disrespectful. How could you not? How could you not understand how this is a bad thing to do in front of everyone watching, millions of people watching the game, and all of your colleagues are doing what they say is right to do? They was just up in roars, right? So, do you think what Michael Strahan did was unpatriotic? Do you think it was disrespectful to the veterans for him just standing there and not putting his hand on his heart during the national anthem?
Well, there's no one more patriotic than your co-host.
That is true.
Right. Mm-hmm. I'm down for the red, white, and blue. Mm-hmm. But I'm hard pressed to call him out for not being patriotic. If we're only talking about whether or not his right hand was over his left chest, you're gonna have to come with a bit more than that.
Okay.
Did Mike kneel? Mm-hmm. Did he walk away? Did he turn his back to the flag? Was there any act of defiance? That, my friend, is what you call a rhetorical question, because I already know the answer. Mm-hmm. No, he didn't. Mm-hmm. And so, from that standpoint, I would say no. It's not an act, or I don't think it's a gauge of his level of patriotism. Mm-hmm. And I think there's, I've got that file cabinet. Which I put things, or I file this under nothing to see here.
Okay.
I think that's what that is. I think we need to be careful with reading too much into things, because many of us, sometimes during that time, maybe one with our thoughts, we have a personal relationship with our country and what it means to us. Doesn't suggest that we're unpatriotic. And so if Big Mike was, like I said, turning his back to the flag, kneeling, walking away, demonstrative talking, there's so many other things, right? Multiple choice, right? Things that he could do. And then we've got something to talk about. But if we're just talking about a hand in the heart, no, stop, folks. Please stop it. Don't label him that. Don't do that to him. Because I think it's misplaced, and you know me, I don't tolerate that. That's just me personally,
right?
And I'm that's just not me. That's not where I'm from. I think I disagree with I disagree with a lot of what folks do in protest of it. I think time and place. So I've never been a fan of it, although maybe in some cases I understand the reasoning behind it, but it's not something I would do.
Right.
So with all of that said, I don't feel no kind of way about Mike.
Yeah, and I think in this whole political landscape that we're in right now, I think people's antennas are raised way too high right now.
That's fair.
And they're thinking things might be a certain way, and it really isn't. And to your point, people are looking way too far into things that they really should. And if they have a certain thought pattern, they're going to be like, "Oh, he did put his hands on his chest. Right. He's being like."
You're looking for anything.
Yeah, you're looking for anything, right? If they think he might be with a certain political affiliation or whatever the case may be, yes, you're looking for anything. And I agree with you. To your point, sometimes there's things that are just not there. Now, to the other point, can I understand how some people, I guess, might be offended by that? Okay, I can't say why someone may be offended or not, right? That might really offend you, why someone doesn't have their hands up there for the national anthem in their heart. So, so should I say they shouldn't be offended? I guess I can't say that. Can I understand why they may be offended? Guess. I don't know, but could you see how where people may be offended by his actions?
Based off of what he did? No, based off of what he did. Listen, clearly people are offended, but based on what he did, I don't see why, other than you may have your own personal feeling about it. So remember when we were children, we would do the Pledge of Allegiance, right? For that, you had your hand over your heart. That's a pledge. We're literally swearing our allegiance to the to the country, to the flag, right?
Right.
That seems more appropriate to stand there with your hand on your heart as you swore your allegiance to this country, as little kids getting indoctrinated into the, it is what it is. We're all fine with it.
Right.
Standing there feeling national pride, right, in hearing our national anthem, I don't know if you're required to feel like, your hand needs to be on your heart during that. There's no pledge.
But it's the norm.
There's no pledge. But you know what I mean? So from that standpoint, it just, to me, it just has a different connotation to it. And so the guy or gal to my left or right is no more a patriot than I am, or this person is, because this person's standing with their hand on their heart and someone is standing there, hands clasped together, with their head down in honor. And showing, and showing humility. Like maybe that was a part of it.
It was a part of it. Yeah. And I got to say, I was very happy because Michael came out on Instagram and he said, listen, this is all nonsense. Obviously, I have complete respect for our veterans.
Absolutely.
And I would never disrespect veterans. He says, like he said, it's true. His father is a veteran, right? So he has the utmost respect for them. He was in the moment. They was singing the national anthem, and he was just in a zone. He said himself that he was just thinking about everything that the veterans have been through, his father, all the veterans, and he kind of just zoned out a bit, and he wasn't even thinking anything about that. Definitely, he didn't do that to make any kind of stand or any kind of political view or anything like that whatsoever. He just zoned out, and to his credit, he did apologize if what he did offended anybody. Like, we've had conversations like that, and lots of times I feel like I don't feel like I'm wrong, but I've had to apologize for situations, certain situations where I didn't feel like I was wrong.
But did you really?
I liked it. Or other people may have not liked my apology. But here's the thing: it's still an apology, even if you don't understand.
It should be.
Even if you don't understand.
Please, I didn't see Mike's apology. Please tell me he didn't do a Jay special.
No,
he didn't do a Jay apology.
I love Michael Strahan. He's a great, intelligent man. I love what he's done with his career. He's a stand-up man, and he did apologize for those who it may have offended. Stand-up guy. Well, I love that dude. Very good.
I hope that's the end of it. Right? And,
I hope so too.
I really hope that's the end of it. Those people who have protested against it, when they were questioned about it, they stood on business and said, hey, this is why I'm doing this, right?
Right.
Okay, so we're all clear. You did something. Yeah. We don't want to read into it. Right. Why did you do this? And then we got, okay, so my feelings towards that are not misplaced because you confirmed it. So whether it's Colin Kaepernick, whether it was Brittany Griner, Abdul Rauf, whomever it was, they said why. In this case, Mike said, no.
Ain't nothing here.
Nothing here. Nothing to see here. Right. So I hope that's enough for folks.
Right.
And just let it go. He clarified it. Move on, folks. Leave my boy Mike alone.
Exactly, man. Y'all ain't got other things to be worrying about, y'all. There's a lot of crap going on in this country right now. Be concerned about those things because ain't nothing here.
Yeah, there's tons of people you can direct that anger at. Yeah. Just listen to the J&K show because we used to talk about him. Mike ain't one of them people.
Nah, he ain't one of them. That's the good dude.
That's a good one. Right.
That's a good dude. All right, my man. It's been fun. Some great topics here, some great stories, and a lot going on in this world. And we're going to keep bringing you some great stories here on the J&K show. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, all those great formats and platforms, shall I say. You'll get great stuff going on with the J&K show. All right, so listen, I'm your man, J. Rob, my brother K. Tune in next week for more fun, hot topics on the J&K show. Until then, be good, be well, peace. We out. Thanks.
for watching the J&K Show.